Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Shadow and Sun Show, and welcome back to part 2 of our Eldritch Horror Sci-Fi Shadow Chat. We're going to talk about adding Eldritch Horrors into a ongoing or even beginning sci-fi campaign. If you guys recall from last week, we asked everybody who wanted to participate to, share with us their own take on an Eldritch Horror, maybe something they've created or something that
was the homework.
Something that they've created on their own,
and also to give an example of an Eldritch Horror from hopefully something that most of us wouldn't know or recognize, but that isn't necessary. To give an idea of an example of Eldritch Horror that you think was done particularly well.
I have a good one for that.
Yeah, because there are a lot of HP stories, HP Lovecraft, that deal with the equivalent of an Eldritch Horror, but isn't something so monumentally, impossible to deal with, at least in a sci-fi or a fantasy setting. One of my favorites was, I believe, from Whisperer in the Dark, which was the Mi-Go, the fungi from Yuggoth, which were these interstellar beings that would, put your brain in a jar, the original brain in a jar story, as far as I'm concerned, and take you on a little trip to Venus or whatever it was, or no, maybe it was Pluto, and just the horror that would be contained within the knowledge of, extraterrestrial life that had, ulterior motives that, for the common man would be devastating. But if you were to drop that in a sci-fi or fantasy situation, could still be, something the players could actually deal with, with good old-fashioned swords and bows or las guns or something like that, and still be, devastated by the knowledge of what they are and what their goals are, or their perceived goals, but yet still, not like trying to deal with Hastur or Azathoth or Cthulhu himself, but still something so out there, just crazy, mind-shatteringly, inconceivable for the normal person, but still something you can kind of plug away at and break out your machine gun and maybe take out a couple of them, before you having to split the scene, so to speak. You said you had one, Holman, for that sort of situation.
Well, first,
I'll let him finish his food. Nice background you got there, Jack. That light off to your left-hand quarter is freaking brilliant.
Yeah.
That big ball of sun that you got hanging out in your room. See, I'm starting to think maybe you are an Eldritch Horror.
Well, I mean,
that's only whenever you find out his food bill.
I'm going to bring Justin in as well. How's it going, Justin?
Pretty good.
So you said an excellent Eldritch Horror. Why don't we include Alien?
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. That's definitely qualifies. Maybe not on the supernatural, mind-bending angle and aspect, especially as you get into the other movies, especially like when you talk about the Architects or whatever they were called, sort of kills the horror aspect of it. Still has a bit of the Eldritch in it and a little bit of the horror, but it takes away from it being, like one of the great old ones.
Well, part of me is talking about, H.P. Lovecraft. We always talk about Cthulhu. Usually, I think like one or two books. He barely makes a showing. That's what to me is a lot about the large Eldritch Horrors. But I forgot the story. The one where the guy's the artist and he's fascinated by this person, the one that paints, and he
Pickman's model.
What's that?
Pickman's model.
And then at the end, he finds where this mantis-like thing is eating someone's head. I mean, that is perfect for that, because especially if you're playing in a horror game that has corruption or fear or stress or whatever you want to call it in your mechanics, that's why I said Alien is so good for that. You can fight it, but if you're not well armed, you're screwed. I mean, whether people like it or not is, everyone's like, oh, it's this. No offense. If you have to fight a tiger and you're unarmed, you're screwed too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the big problem with the Alien prequel movies is ego destroys great art, right? Every single time. And
Oh yeah, 100%.
things that are mysterious get destroyed in the light. So when you try to explain like the nature of the xenomorph, you ruin the whole point of the story.
Right.
Yeah.
What makes them terrifying is you don't know what their motivations are and why are they doing. You're like, okay, they're just trying to breed, but sometimes if they're just, why are they so spiteful? And you're right. As a DM, I'm like, I don't know all the background. As a player, it ruins a lot of the how that tension builds up.
And honestly, that's one of the reasons why I don't like game masters that overanalyze the detail of action. Yeah, create your world. Know that things are happening in that world, but you shouldn't know so much about the world that it will influence the action of the player.
That seems fair.
I can deal with that.
Like when I say influence the action, I mean like the minute action. Like whether or not I'm going to go left or right down a road or a crossroad.
Well,
Yeah, absolutely.
I think the other point is that when you create rational explanations for them,
Shadow, bro, you need to stop doing that.
Doing what?
Shake and paint, guys.
Below the camera line.
Oh, you know what? Well, Shadow just worked for the SEC previously. No,
That is true.
no. Anyway, but the whole thing of what makes Eldritch horrors is there's not a rational explanation for their motives.
Or
I think that's a big factor, and like you said, is
we were actually talking about that.
That is exactly what we were talking about.
Would you guys consider the Chaos Gods of 40K or the Apostles of Mutant Chronicles to be Eldritch horrors?
yes, but it was about in the frame of something I was about to mention. If the motivations, as Omna was saying, can be waved away as base actions like an animal, like they're so alien to you, they're indistinguishable from the actions of a wolf or a bear or something like that. It's still.
Did you say bear?
Yes.
That's what I'm painting.
What's up?
What's up, Brian?
I mean, if it's
What's going on?
instinctual,
We're World War II. Sorry,
Great shirt, bro, by the way.
It's okay, dude. You can call me Brian.
I'm just.
It's the name Mom gave me, so I figured, it's worthy.
I hated that woman. No, I'm just.
Oh, hey, that's Mom now. Come on now.
I know. No, I just.
Not his
Let's
mom,
get
your
off
mom.
Mom. So they just got off yours. Oh, damn.
Have you met Jack before, Brian?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, wasn't sure.
Who?
My
yeah,
son.
we talked before, right?
Yeah,
Your
with
son?
Bo and some people.
Yeah, I met your son. What the fuck?
No.
Okay, I wasn't
Just
sure.
the person next to you on the.
Me? Yes, he's met
Justin.
me.
What's up, Al?
Yes, the Canadian. Wait a minute. Aren't Canadians Eldritch horrors? Just.
I think so.
Don't forget it.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, I think that's
So
like
they
this
missed
was-
me.
In
It's a
the
monster.
words of Josh Whedon, arg.
It's the fact that you
Please
can't
no,
say this is
Josh.
instinctual. Why are they doing this? And that was part of the thing that I think that makes some of the things so scary is you don't understand. And as a DM, you can give a motivation, but this is one thing I liked about the art for Alien is you randomly roll for the attack, and the attack may not be the optimal choice. Some of it is it kind of beats on you and puts you on the ground and then just waits there and stares at you. And that is, for a player, That is completely creepy to have an animal that kind of pounces on you, then backs off and stares at you when it's about ready to kill you. Like,
Yeah.
what the hell? You know, it's not like most animals that will just attack. It's now, you know, it's waiting for you to do. Are you going to run? Are you going to stand there? What the hell do you do? You know, and I think that's part of the fun as a player is you think that these things have a motivation, but you don't know what it is, and it throws you off.
Yeah.
I kind of disagree. Excuse me. To a certain extent, many of the Eldritch horrors I'm familiar with actually have a quite obvious sort of motivation. The King in Yellow, for example, is there to create, you know, chaos and discord and just
Yeah, but that what's the purpose of that, right? That's
it
like
could just
saying
be
all
that and
praise Keck. Like there's no purpose to chaos and discord.
It's just
hey,
chaos.
Kristen, what's happening? Nice to have you in the show. And then there's, you know, Cthulhu himself, which is, well, is you know, his motivations, his goals are to reconquer Earth and re-enslave humanity that had, you know, put him to sleep.
But it isn't. If you actually read a lot of
not that I've read.
No, nothing from H.P. Lovecraft says that.
Ever.
Those are attributed beliefs.
Those are what the people think, but we don't know what Cthulhu wants or needs or whatever because he's not around.
Or even cares. I mean, the other thing is that a lot of this stuff is what other writers gave to these horrors.
Like, once again, back to what's his name that did Prometheus?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ridley Scott.
He also did Blade Runner, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wasn't he the original creator of it in a way?
He didn't write the thing because he can't write worth shit, and that's
Dan O'Bannon wrote it.
Why all the later ones suck because he wrote them.
That doesn't surprise me.
The replicant, the extra replicant, was a miscount by the actor, and then people made up that it was Harrison Ford, but that wasn't in the original story.
Yeah,
right? And they changed that with the director's cuts, which ruins the story.
In Blade Runner?
Yeah, in Blade Runner. He's not a replicant.
He's not.
The purpose of the story is that he thinks his actions are no different than the actions of the replicants. But we, the audience, made that up, and then the story was changed to infer that.
Yep.
Which degrades
the whole the whole subplot of like the unicorn dream. Yeah. And the guy, almost his character, leaving all those damn
paper
little paper things everywhere. It's meant to show that there's a possibility that Decker was a replicant that was being used to hunt down replicants, right? And all this stuff
that wasn't in the original story.
But no, you're right.
And it wasn't even in the original cut of the movie.
There was the original cut had that unicorn scene where he has a dream about the unicorn.
No, it doesn't. The original does not have the unicorn scene. It was the director's cut that has that, and it's not the final cut. The problem that I have with it is we're talking theatrical cut. That was the original. The problem that I have with it is the ambiguity that they had in the original was removed as he added stuff later on. But
the theatrical cut had that narration that was god awful.
Yeah, I like the narration.
They got rid of
that because it's supposed to be a noir film, right?
Yeah.
And it was a noir narration. That's why it was there.
Well, it was there to
also explain they thought it was going to be so bad because they purposely voiced.
No, that's made up. Shitty. That explanation is actually made up.
No,
Harrison Ford. No, because Scott did not want that. He did not want that, and he made him. He made Ford film it so shitty that when the
No, he
dailies
was
got up or
sick
whatever-
that day. That's why it sounds so crappy. Is because he was actually sick that day.
Really, because Harrison Ford says the opposite of all those.
Yeah. Harrison
Really?
Ford
'Cause
said
I've
that
read
he
anyway,
was screwed
I
up.
don't
No,
I mean,
he doesn't.
I've heard him do it, but
Okay,
regardless,
you're gonna have to send me a
let's-
link to
let's-
that. Then.
Let's go back to Eldritch horrors and get off.
Yes.
Of, you know,
Yeah,
rebel-
because yeah.
Sorry, Crispy. Let me remove the comment so you can see who you were.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah, there we go.
That's a good. That's
Yeah.
good. That's a good.
He was talking about you, Owen.
People acknowledge my existence. Damn you.
I matter.
I
matter.
I changed it for when I was on Bo's
On Guard
stream,
Show.
but he didn't have the the names up.
So, hey, anybody talk to Bo today?
No,
No, he was supposed to do a
No.
stream, but he didn't.
Did he sleep in? I mean, come on.
No, he was just in the
definitely
chat
late.
before the show, and I'm saving the spot for him. But I was just
So-
curious if either of you guys had talked to him, because dang, we got 3 out of 5 or 6 of the people from last night's game all hanging out in the same show. Funny how that worked out.
Well, I'm going to mention the other part, which is more canon-esque than what the problem is later writers started adding a lot of stuff to Cthulhu, and everyone
Absolutely.
gets it's and so people confuse the two. But if you want to look at his Howard and was being a contemporary of H.P. Lovecraft, and they corresponded. Go look at some of the stuff with
same
Conan.
universe.
What's that?
It's technically the same universe.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
Conan.
I think the latter writers try to write it to like there's like a reason. They try to add like all this like, well, this is why it's happening, and that kind of like let's fix the mythos to try to mean something.
Right, but see, I
Instead
have
of
a
it just
problem.
being-
Bad writing.
I have a
bad
problem
writing.
with the a bit of the forced ambiguity. I think it's not. I mean, there are only so many motivations that could possibly actually exist when you're that kind of powerful, whether
Yes,
you're good or
but-
evil. There's only
Well,
But the
Well,
point
the
is,
problem-
so many
is that
actual
you're making-
things you could possibly be plotting and scheming to accomplish. No matter who you are, no matter how powerful or weak you are, there's only
Yes.
so many things that are within your reach.
But
That
that's
are
human. That's a human
and that's-
designation.
That doesn't.
Yeah.
That's the same for the gods.
It's
No,
not.
no,
You
no,
cannot
no,
speak
no.
for God and His motivations. You
I
don't
just
know
did.
that.
I
Your-
will every second
your
of the
frame
day.
is of human existence.
What possible? There are only so many things you
We
can
don't
actually
know. That's
accomplish.
the thing.
It's
Yeah.
alien
It's like-
intelligence, and alien intelligence is supposed to be you don't know. That's the
That-
whole
that-
point of it.
I get it. It's funner that way, but I can honestly imagine there only being a limited number.
even if there were, it should still be ambiguous to us, the perspective.
Right, but that's
Right.
forced.
Well,
we
no,
as
Yeah. So
it's
what?
not forced. It's forced
As the
to tell you
GM,
what-
we have to make certain things make sense. Otherwise, we
No,
just
no, you don't.
No, you don't. That's the whole point of what we're trying
Why?
to say
Yeah,
here.
you
Because
really
it's
don't.
Eldritch horror. That's the purpose of the genre.
Yeah. The
then
purpose
you
of the
then you
genre.
don't. How do you write it without knowing what you're actually striving for as you write?
Because you're not.
That's the madness
striving
of
for
it.
things. What you're
Yeah.
striving for.
It
is
all
the
depends on
person.
the purpose of why you're writing it. If
Yeah.
they're depending on why you are writing this to be an Eldritch horror will determine whether or not it will have a motivation, whether or not it won't have a motivation, whether or not it'll have a motivation that you just don't tell anyone. If you're writing a story, there's a reason why you're doing it, and if
Yeah.
depending on
But you're doing it for the characters. You're not doing it for the monster. The problem is that we're trying to give things for the monster. No, whenever you read H.P. Lovecraft, it's always about the individual and his encounters with this.
that is
Don't
often
forget.
true in
Like,
the
like you said 2 weeks ago, he was exploring madness. You can't understand that.
oh yeah, absolutely.
Then how do you actually run it other than just randomly rolling everything
We are-
that
the
you
thing
guys
is-
do?
Well,
If you want to write a story for the same reason that Lovecraft was doing it, go ahead. If you want to write a story for a completely different purpose, where the monsters do have motivations that go in line with the themes
It
or
ceases
message
to
or
be-
whatever, then you can do that too.
But
yeah,
the monsters don't need motivations is the whole point. The,
yeah,
the
but
motivation is what the players are encountering.
Yeah.
And you know,
And
this
how
is-
they're
basically
dealing.
just
Monsters will always
arbitrarily-
represent
So
something.
you basically would recommend
not-
arbitrarily whatever's the most creepy and
No,
makes the least sense, because that's what I'm hearing.
it's not
No. What
arbitrary
you do
because
is
you're dealing with the machinations of the cultists.
Not
Yeah,
always.
you're seeing it through
Right.
their eyes. Yeah.
yeah, you're seeing what they're projecting onto what they believe.
Yeah.
That's why.
Eldritch Horror
That's
is.
why it's so common when the cultists resurrect the shit, it eats them because they don't fucking know. They don't know
Yeah.
the real
Right, but it
motivation.
doesn't always have to be cultists. There's a lot
Or
of
whatever.
There's
Those who are
other
Just
things
for
trying
an
to
within-
bring-
example.
Yeah, it's just
I
an
know, but there's a lot of other things out there in both Howard and Lovecraft that had clear.
Yes, but
ideas.
those weren't Eldritch. Those were just monsters.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's evil. I don't even know if Cthulhu can be considered evil. Like in our eyes, in the acts that like a hound of Talos do come down and start eating everybody's face off, we would perceive that as evil. But is it? I mean, I don't-
Yeah. Like, is it evil for you to step on an anthill?
Or to
No,
eat a
but then-
fish?
Well,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
can be. It can be if you do it for the sake of stepping on it. If you step on it because you don't notice it, that's different.
Well, but that's where a lot of
It's
these
the same
Eldritch come
action,
into it is
To
this
the
is the
perspective
whole
of the
point
ants.
of the Eldritch horror aspect. Is if once you give it motivations and you're making
It
it human
ceases.
esque, it's not. If you really want to do it, and this is part of whenever you start looking at 40K. If you didn't mention that, they do things just because, and it's supposed to be kind of random. And what's funny is if you look at Zeech and all these others, they'll actually have cultists in the same group going against each other.
Yeah,
Just
they
for the
fight
fun
each
of it.
other.
Well, yes, but you're just spreading chaos. As long as you spread chaos, I don't care if you do this and you do this. I'll bless you both. And if you
Yeah.
fight amongst each other, that's okay with me too. I mean, that's
Yeah. Well, it's back to Alien, right? The Alien from the first 3 movies is an Eldritch horror, but the
Mhm.
Alien from the movies after that is just a monster.
Mhm.
Because it's explained, it's demystified, it's limited.
Yeah, we know
Right.
the origins of it. It's not just some.
Well,
Thing that
it's not
appears
it's
and-
not even that we know the origins of it. That's like the worst gaff that you could do. But we
Right.
know its limits at that point. We know its
Right.
weaknesses.
Well, they even did that in the second movie when the Marines were able to take out scores of them. It
Yes.
just became a matter of attrition.
But there was
that's okay.
still the anomaly of what was after that, right? You didn't know if those were like babies you were killing or spores.
Yeah, I don't really
Well,
remember the third movie.
the director's cut's a lot better. But I will
I
say,
like the
Well,
third
the
one.
audiobook
I
was the
enjoyed it.
best.
but here's the other part of it. The other part of the Eldritch horror aspect is that, and you just mentioned this, it's okay if you kill them. They don't have to be unkillable. They just have to be terrifying and when we say alien is they don't think like human beings. They don't think rationally. They have a
Well, then how would you? I mean, it seems to me every H.P. Lovecraft scenario or Call of Cthulhu, I should say, scenario I've ever read, there was a clear outline of what was going on and why.
Yes, because you're dealing with the lesser branch of that entity, right? Like in
Like the servitor races and stuff.
Sure,
in
sure.
Ye Olde Geek, we just finished the Call of Cthulhu Choose Your Own Adventure, but you never actually see the Elder God in that. It's cultists, monsters, mutations from the entity, but not the entity itself.
It's part of the Eldritch horror is one is you don't know exactly its motivations, which is why the cultists come into it. The cultists are the ones that are giving you motivations a lot of times, but like you said, is they summon the monster doesn't care, it eats them and then moves along. And the other part is you're right with the ant. With Cthulhu, the one time that I can remember now, he may appear in other areas. He appears and the ship hits him, and they're like, "Well, that got rid of him." Well, Cthulhu may have just been like, "I'm bored. I'm leaving."
That may have not even been Cthulhu. It could have been one of his star spawn or some shit. They're
Exactly,
supposed to look the same.
But it didn't actually
Yeah.
kill anything. If you actually read it, it's just that he
Yeah.
saw it, and that's what terrifies him.
Right,
Even
and
even
with-
Ella's correct here. The the thing from Star Trek No
Four.
Way Home.
No Way Home.
The whale.
Yeah, the space whale. The
Space
big
whales.
the big thing out of an Arthur C. Clarke novel.
You know,
It buzzed all the way through space.
you know, if we're going to really mention this, let's not forget
Or
the
even
mice
Beecher.
in what was it in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. What are their motivations?
Yeah.
You don't have to
I
give
never saw
motivations. Well, it's the book. The book is that they just did it because they thought it was funny in most cases.
I would
like-
even say V'ger from Star Trek 1 is an Eldritch horror up until they fucking rub that plaque. Sorry, I cut you off over now, but
No.
that was just
That's
one to
interesting.
come out.
It's
Or
well,
the,
part of it, I think part of the Eldritch horrors, the players may want to try figuring out why, but we don't have to give motivations to these beings because one is they live for thousands or hundreds of thousands of years. So
Well,
for you to go through this,
I would say trillions, but
well
Yeah.
I mean, we don't know.
Trillions and trillions.
Well, but the whole point really is we are no more significant than a mayfly to them. And so to have them go like they're going to take care of humanity, they don't care about humanity, which is what makes them so terrifying.
So here's a perfect thing, and this is my addition to your son's homework edition. Okay, this is my story. All right, so in the mechanics of my Weird World War II campaign, okay, in all my studies and everything, is I have to negate the Commonwealth. I have to break it up, destroy it, or whatever, or I can't extend the conflict in any other longer way than it would have happened, right? So I have to destroy the Commonwealth. So what I came up with is that a group of Cthulhu-ish cultists, if you guys look at one of our battle reports, it's when the king, to kill a king, they actually kill and they obtain the King of England's body, okay? And what everybody doesn't know yet, so if you don't want to know what happens, then don't listen. What happens is they perform a ritual, and what it is, it asks a question to the world in the dreamlands. When everybody sleeps, they ask one question. And with the king's body, they use all this, but what it is, it's a question that says, would you die for your king? That's all it asks. But in every individual that is as a subject of the King of England and the Commonwealth and all that shit, they're asked in the most opportune position in their dreams that they would answer yes. So like it would be like when you're dreaming, and if you're an officer, it would be like you're in front of a general and he asks the question. Or if like you're a civilian and your dad was a veteran and he like asked you in the dream, and when they say yes, it's an offering to Cthulhu. Okay. And what happens is a large portion of the Commonwealth citizenry answer yes, because the question is posed in a certain way to probably have, unless you're staunch anti-royal, you're going to be fine. But most of the Commonwealth are they die. They never wake up. They die. And with this offering, this mass offering on Earth, it awakens. It wakes up Cthulhu. And you know what he does? He leaves. He just flies out of Reklak and he just vanishes. He just flies into space. That's it.
Well, I mean, but a lot of them do stuff like that. And,
yeah. So it's like the cultists did this for a purpose, wanting to bring him alive, bring him to life, wake him up.
He
right?
would help. But
they thought that they would be rewarded or whatever it was. But you know what he did? He just woke up and he left to do whatever he was going to do. So it's like my imagination to destroy the Commonwealth has been achieved. But then, like, Cthulhu is gone doing his own thing.
Yeah.
And that's part of the thing is, because players always want to, well, he's going to do this, so we know what he's going to anticipate. And if you really want to make it weird, just create some random tables and roll on them to see their reactions. And the players will just be like, what is going on? And not that you can roll like 5 or 6 actions ahead of time. And so then they're like, well, why did he do this? And players will attribute meaning to the actions, even when they're completely random and you aren't attributing them to anything except that he's just randomly doing stuff.
Well, but the thing is because Cthulhu, the intention was to bring Cthulhu to Earth and whatever, right?
Yeah.
Well, now I have a sandbox to play with where a major belligerent in this war is gone. They're fucking gone. A majority of the people are gone, okay, and neutralized. So now those other belligerents that are against the Commonwealth or those Commonwealth nations will collapse because of massive or whatever it might be. Now I, with the sandbox, can use the politics of the day and whatnot, and I can start to form my own world to expand the weird World War II longer, and with like I can bring Spain into the Axis, you know.
I'm going to bring up another point, which is while you're mentioning this stuff, is anyone that's looked at Hellboy and they sometimes give things and they're like, okay, I think the problem is that the players should never know what the actions are, and the actions should seem kind of random, even if you're going through it, and that's what really makes some of these things creepy and weird. And then, like they said, the architecture, the whole point of it is it's supposed to be alien, and if you can justify why it's doing things, it's not alien. Now you can empathize with it. You're not supposed to empathize with an eldritch horror.
Yeah.
So
maybe that's my problem.
And that would even be like a great parallel storyline to the Hellboy series, is if he was a free agent. The Americans came in, killed the what's the stupid cult called?
It's not important. Go ahead.
Yeah, and the baby is never found, and he has to raise himself and becomes like the actual embodiment of the Eldritch horror on Earth. And
Are you talking the Outsider?
No, Hellboy.
Oh, okay.
Like a parallel timeline, like an alternate reality where he actually does the thing he was intended to do.
Raven. Well, that was part of what was supposed to make vampires until that was supposed to be why vampires were so alien until you had Bram Stoker come in and humanize them. Was it's like these don't make sense? Why are they drinking blood? Why did they make a pact with the devil? Why did they do all of these things? And they're not.
Well, that's kind of. I'm glad you brought that up, because that's kind of what the difference between Eldritch horrors in every other game except sci-fi. In sci-fi, we get to assume that mankind or whatever alien races you're playing have evolved or educated themselves to a point where they can kind of understand a lot more than we did compared to vampires of the old days to how we would look at them now. We would now look at it as maybe a disease or a mental illness, or be able to actually definitively prove this is somehow something supernatural and thoroughly evil. And now the world governments are going to create real organizations to hunt them down and exterminate them before they
I think I agree with you. That's like great concepts, but I think in sci-fi, Eldritch horror works best when that education and belief of being better than like the 20s is an illusion.
It could be, but that could also be
the more you depend on your technology, the more it should fail you.
Yeah,
well, I wouldn't necessarily just blame it, or chalk it up all to technology. I would chalk a lot of it up to learning the differences.
It's not the technology itself that's failing you. It's your false belief in the material.
Yeah, what he's referring to is your over-reliance on technology to solve.
Well, no, it's also understanding
it's like I tried to say.
If you were to grab
a couple weeks ago,
like
your dependence.
Justin, just wait a minute.
Sorry. No, go ahead, Justin. Mine might be longer than yours.
Your dependence on artifice is only a knife that will stab you more than it will your enemy in this kind of story.
I'm going to bring a little bit different, and the perfect example is watching the people freak out when COVID first came out, and many of them did not have basic life skills, and it's because technology failed. The perfect example is I can't cook. How am I going to eat? Oh my God!
Or like toilet paper. Why don't you just wash your ass in the fucking shower?
Well,
you don't have any toilet paper.
You know what though? I'm not. You know, everyone jokes about toilet paper, but a lot of it is it's just your creature comforts. Your creature comforts aren't there, and now you're suddenly going off into a Neolithic era, effectively, of what can we do, which is what causes so much of that fear, the fear of the dark. We don't fear the dark because we can wander outside at night for the most part. Now, I knew people that lived in Chicago. They went out into the woods and they were freaked out just by all the different animal noises in the forest. And they were terrified of it. And the problem is that, and this is, I think, what also happens with Eldritch horror, is you want the imagination to fill in the blanks. And I think that's where so much of the horror is the problem of, just like they said with Jaws. Jaws was much scarier because you did not see the shark as much as he had originally intended. And, and because of that, your brain fills in just naturally. Your brain fills in all those blanks. That's why I said you can roll random effects for your monster. It doesn't matter. You just roll. Let's say that you put like 20 different things that are all just kind of weird. Players will make the gap to explain why it's there because we want something rational. And Eldritch horror is not rational. It preys on the irrational. And that's why, oh my God, I'm going to go through here. This is why fungi is so weird. This is why the Thing, what was the Thing doing? Oh, okay, well, it's just supposed to spread. Yeah, but there's an intelligence in there, and we aren't really sure what it's doing, which is why the Thing was so cool when you watch that movie.
And that's an Eldritch horror through and through.
Absolutely. Jack, how many Jackie's ever seen the Thing?
Oh, but you need to watch it as soon as you
can watch the Thing, brother. Like tonight, like now.
I went through I'm not gonna say a phase, but there was a week where I watched like everything I could about the Thing except for the movie.
I'll grant you that it's not one of my favorite films.
What?
Right? I do not like the Thing, but I do put it on a recommended watching list.
I like the Thing for the ideas that come from it because it creates that paranoia. Who's there? That was one of the great things about Alien too.
I had a theory about the Thing. Okay, they know there's a spaceship down there, right?
Yeah.
I personally think the Thing is what killed everybody on the spaceship and made it crash. I don't think it was. I don't think it was the last surviving member or the only member of that spaceship. I think it was something else,
like a bioweapon.
Right.
I'm going to come up with something even better, which came from Andrew Gaska. He's the main authoritarian, other than Ridley Scott, on the Alien universe. But what he said is, they asked him what crossover would you love to do. He said, I would have loved to do a Thing Alien crossover, and the reason they have acid blood is it prevents the Thing from taking them over.
Nice. Hey, a Nerd's Nerd, welcome to the show.
Hey,
I don't
Nerd's
think I've
Nerd.
seen you be here. Seen you here before. Sorry, can't talk tonight. And also, Crispy, I'm pretty sure this is the first time you've been here. Glad to have you on board.
Real quick, with Nerd's Nerd, guys, he's a STL making animal. He has a account on Cults, and he makes lots of World War II and weird World War II stuff all for free. This guy's fantastic. Yeah, fantastic stuff.
We'll have to have a discussion later, Nerd's Nerd.
Definitely, he's a great guy.
I mean, but I think that's the thing, is that you don't want. I guess what makes an Eldritch horror, one is it has to have alien perspective. Number two is you can't empathize with it, and number three is it should create fear among the players where they're trying to rationalize what they're seeing. But and you don't have to have. The funny thing is when we say alien, you can get things that even if we do it, is insects are perfect for this because we don't empathize with insects. They don't have a love. They're just they're going to go out and they're going to eat you, and that's what I think. That's why insectoids work so well. The other part that goes into it, and everyone talks about.
That's not inherently true, but go on.
Hey, TCG, what's happening? Welcome to the show.
But I mean, the same thing with octopi. A lot of times, that's what's so, because their octopi are as bad as alien as you can get underwater. I mean, they don't look like anything we would say. They're invertebrates. They have all sorts of stuff, and why it's just that's why you combine the two. You combine this is why all of them have tentacles and insect limbs.
That's funny you mentioned octopi. Those are apparently my spirit animal. At least
Well,
That's no surprise.
That's only because you liked him in a certain sort of Japanese cartoon.
no, it's really no. This was long before I had ever seen my first anime, believe it or not. So there's that.
Anime is too decent to be what I'm referring to.
I
We got
I've
a
seen
minor
some
here.
anime that just wow.
Well, I'm going to mention a good one, which if any of you have seen it, was
I swear to
Akira.
God, if you see Legend of the
Akira!
Overfiend, I'm going to kick you from the show.
Legend of what?
But Akira.
Legend of the Overfiend. Don't look it up.
I'm gonna look it up right now.
No, Akira. if you look at what they were what Tetsuo was turning into, that's the other part is there's usually a body horror aspect to it of watching
Absolutely.
yourself. You're like, what's going on? You start looking at the limbs and tentacles.
Watching yourself become an object of the unknown instead of something that you have control over.
And that's why the old one. I'm not when I say old one, I mean we were talking about it in the old days. We're going to talk about that's why werewolf and vampires were so terrifying is because you're going to turn into something that you couldn't control.
Yeah,
I was just
one of the main
element.
I was just thinking of the movie Let the Wrong One In or Let the Right One In. What was that called?
Vampire Girl.
Yeah, this afternoon. I was like,
They made there's the original is like from Norway or some shit, right?
yeah,
Then
Sweden, something like that.
then they made an American one, and then
Which
they
was
made
pretty
another
good.
like American one or something.
Yeah,
Like 3 of them or something.
I saw the American one, the first.
Yes,
American
hell,
one,
yes,
and
that's the
it
one.
is well worth watching.
So real quick, Justin, Legend of the Overfiend is the origin of the tentacle use that we're talking about.
Yep,
I didn't know that.
yep. That's how far back I go. Not at all proud.
Yeah,
So,
I wouldn't be either.
Jack, get a piece of wood and sharpen one end.
Yeah.
No. What he needs to do is he needs to have his rosary ready. Is what
he needs to just
Yeah.
watch the thing and just be amazed by its awesomeness.
Yeah,
He's clutching his cross while you say that, by the way.
There's nothing. It's not evil. It's just like a monster. I mean, it's not like it's the devil.
No.
Would you
His
guys
dad.
would you guys recommend the original? Would you guys recommend the
Yeah, A
original?
Thing from Another World is great.
Yeah.
It's
or
fantastic movie.
just go into the Carpenter version and call it a day.
I even like the remake.
Oh, come on. Like the prequel?
No. Was it a prequel?
Yeah, as a prequel,
Was it
dude. They
supposed
tried
to
to
be?
link it all together. They failed miserably.
The one with the janky CG effects.
Yes, it was god awful.
But-
They originally were going to do physical effects, right? And then
They
in
originally did
mid-production,
do physical effects.
in mid-production they like cut it and they just like let's CGI. It's cheaper. And they're like, what?
Oh,
Making this
okay.
awesome
So that's what because I've seen those physical effects and they looked awesome.
shit. Yeah,
I didn't know they cut it.
they
I
did.
thought I thought they filmed it all like that and then replaced it with CG. Now, doing the physical effects and then adding some CG smoothing always looks better than doing one or the other with modern technology.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, I don't think like some form of practical effects puritanism is particularly good. Like if you want, go ahead. But to say that you have to use practical effects all the time, I don't think you have to. If you
I
can,
could see a nice melding of the two.
Yeah.
Well, I think it depends on the movie that you're talking about. If you're talking about a car chase or a jet fighter battle, I think you want practical effects. You want real airplanes flying around and cars turning around and rolling over and shit. You don't want CGI crap.
oh, well,
But the problem is
more
a lot of times dynamic effects. But okay, so what are some good Eldritch horror stuff that?
yeah, I was gonna.
Well, actually, you know what? Let's look at Eldritch horrors at different levels, whether we're going to do D&D or whatever. So, what is a good low-level Eldritch horror?
Ghouls,
Oh yeah,
night gaunts,
Yeah.
Yeti.
Bigfoot, singular, not two.
This weird light effect on this notebook I'm holding.
What's that?
I'm like moving the paper back and forth, and it looks really weird. I think
With
that's
cats?
the level
We
of
can't
show.
see that.
Cats
No,
of Uther.
I
Cats
can
of Uther was a brutal one.
Just cats generally.
Yeah.
That's right.
The rat thing. That's
yeah. Well, rats are really good because boy, if you can play on people's fears and things, spiders are an excellent one.
Whippoorwill. You guys remember those?
No.
Shadowchat?
They were just
Shadwell.
birds.
Shadwell.
Okay, there's that. Oh, I'm not really a cultist, but I play one on TV. The whippoorwill.
With that beard, man. I don't believe you.
Whippoorwill were the birds that were alerting you, kind of like a cross between a banshee and the eldritch horrors were coming near you.
Okay, guys. So I've got in front of me. I've got a list of everything. Okay. So here are the
he didn't even look that up. He just has it like on the wall.
It's etched in my flesh.
Yeah. He his left eye.
The lesser servitor races. These are the slave races of the elder gods. Okay. You got the Shaw tank, the sand dwellers, the deep ones, the tikus. Those are like yetis. The formless spawn, the night gaunts, the fire vampires, the Baki, the rat things, and the Shoggoth. Those are your slave races.
I'm gonna have to go with either deep ones or Shoggoth. A Shoggoth in any game, if I pull out a Shoggoth, everybody runs. It doesn't matter. You could be armed. You could be wearing a freaking a Veritech fighter, and you see a Shoggoth on the ground, they're running. Okay, it doesn't matter.
Well, you guys seen my tank, my tiger tank with the tentacles coming out of it and shit?
Yeah.
You guys seen that, haven't you?
Yeah.
I absolutely agree. Al, I think you've almost won the comment of the word of the night for that one.
You know what? Here's the reason I can't mention Jerry Nadler, even though he looks like kind of is he reminds me of Mr. Toad
Or the
Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. Yeah.
Or Danny DeVito as the Penguin.
Yeah.
Danny DeVito is awesome in every single thing ever.
Yeah.
I like him as the Penguin.
Except Reed Perlin.
Okay.
Oh God.
Who's Jerry Nadler?
He's a
just save yourself some trouble.
Yeah. He looks like a frog when you actually look at him.
Okay, so then there's the there's the lesser independent races. So these are just like aliens, that aren't super tough. You got the Migo, you got the serpent people, the Ghost, the ghouls, the star vampires, the dimensional shamblers, the Ling spiders, the Gugs, and the elder things.
So I have some of the field guides to these monsters from Call of Cthulhu game, and it's almost all of them have fungal tentacles, worms. Almost all of them appear more to be insectoid.
Aquatic.
Aquatic.
This is as different from humanity as possible.
I just want to do a call out. Anyone out there that sees this in the future and is good with digital sculpting, I need a Jerry Nadler model with little tentacles coming out from under his collar.
What are you guys talking about?
With little tentacles coming out of his collar. And,
what was it? The proto. I think he's a proto Shoggoth. I think that would qualify because the proto Shoggoth is actually like a Shoggoth in a humanoid form.
Flying
and a little familiar rat on his shoulder.
Jackie, answer this one for Al.
Some of them are. Not all, but some of them.
What was the question?
Are SCPs Eldritch Horror?
Oh yeah. What? Jackie, explain that to me. Are those just like stories people make up, or is this some sort of
the SCP Foundation is a website where people can write up their own monsters that within let me restart. The SCP Foundation website exists to catalog a bunch of people's creations, and you can go on there and write your own, and then it'll be put on the website. And what is that?
That is a star vampire.
Oh, nice. And
there's a lot of stuff.
Otherwise known as your father's ex-girlfriend.
You'd have to be more specific than that.
There are too many.
Yeah.
You dated the
The
entire
Tijuana
race.
one.
Again, you're going to have to be more specific.
Ooh, the
No, but
zoo.
go ahead. So it's like a collective where people like do their own kind of like.
Yeah, and there's no one single unified canon.
Okay.
There's because
Yeah.
again, if anyone can make one, then there'll be contradictions. And some people try to explain it, some people try not to.
Yeah,
And it's all written from the perspective of this is a secret, non-government, independent organization which has trapped these creatures in some form of containment procedure.
Oh, okay.
There's 3 classifications. There are easy to contain, medium, and just basically impossible to contain. And then there's we know about it, but we can't contain it. There's literally nothing we can do about it except for hope that it doesn't kill us all.
yeah.
Yeah, because I listen
Also-
to a lot of horror, like online horror, like through YouTube, like
There are people that do green
audiobooks,
text.
and there's tons of that
Like
whatever,
creepy
R
pasta type of stuff.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
yeah.
Pretty good. Some of it's pretty good.
A nerd's nerd says, "I love using SCPs in RPGs. The odds of someone knowing an SCP is way lower than an established mythos, and the focus of just being strange rather than just scary gives some really creative stuff." Which is kind of the point I wanted to get here tonight. Whenever I've been in a Call of Cthulhu type game, it always seemed to me like, once you know what you're dealing with, you have a whole bunch of information that you shouldn't have, but
Yeah.
players have it anyways. And then it just becomes more of a detective game of, how do we Scooby Doo this thing into a net and pull off the mask or something like that. That's why.
That's where resources like SPC and the internet at large come in hand. Those myths and creatures that you see in the classic stories should be things that your characters, your players were educated on, but are not facing and will never face.
I'm going to make it
that's
a
a
little
good way
bit
to do
different. Having played the Call of Cthulhu, usually with EL Geek, when we've been playing a couple of them, there's even when we were playing the vampire, we didn't know what their motivations were, except that they're going to do this until the very end in many cases, and it. But it was never.
The Eldritch Horror wanted to stop you from ruining the story.
Yeah, but I think the problem is that everyone acts like, I know it's Cthulhu. Cthulhu is irrelevant. Cthulhu is the plot device. It's the cultist. And what are the cultists trying to do? Are they trying to bring about Cthulhu?
They're always trying to raise Cthulhu or Hitler. It's always the same with these jerk offs.
That's why I
would be right on board with them raising Hitler.
God,
no.
All right, CIA, FBI guys listening in.
This is a joke. It means in Minecraft. By the way, when you said your king is Oswald, I know.
That's kind of the point of
first of the House of Mosley. Damn
not
you.
the justice thing. I wanted to get everybody on board with coming up with their own, monstrosity or whatever, so that people out there could, if they want, borrow from us, and borrow our little creation, because like the SCP, how many people watch the show? We got 8 eyeballs watching now. Probably the course of the evening we'll get like 30 to 50. So I know Jackie's got one, and he's been very patient.
I do want to add one thing before we get into this.
Okay.
You can finish that, but I just want to preface this so that you can think about this and get ready. If you have an actual creation, which you all should have, you did the homework, but whatever.
I did.
Okay, good.
I already told you, I'm raising Hitler.
That's a horror, but I don't know how Eldritch that is. Unless Hitler was older than I am. Maybe he was a vampire or something. I don't know.
I'm raising Abraham Lincoln if it's a vampire.
Well, you're forgetting. Obviously it's an Eldritch horror. Hitler was a vegan. Of course it's an Eldritch horror.
He liked dogs, so it's okay.
Yeah, but how did he like them cooked?
That's beard,
awful.
Man.
My God.
Why aren't you wearing your robes?
You gotta go. You're gonna have to go to church on that one, Shadow.
Yeah, like freak. Now, Jackie, you know why you live in a desert, right?
Because your dad's mouth.
So I got
a bunch of deep ones.
Come here, buddy. Come here.
I'm not sure Zuckerberg is Lovecraft. I think he's just an automaton.
Yeah.
Anyways, what I was getting
He's
at,
a lizard.
he is a lizard.
Well, his people do keep talking to David Icke about that.
I mean, he even said he used to be human, not anymore. Anyways, what I'm getting at is before we get into showing what our creations or Eldritch horrors are, what I want to do is have everyone will go and cyclic thing, is have somebody give an example of a really good Eldritch horror that we hope other people on the panel haven't heard of or seen before.
No, I totally spaced on this homework, so I'll
Okay,
be
Shadow,
last.
continue.
All right, I already told my shit. I already.
You know
did
what,
your
though?
homework, you get an A. No
Thank
need to polish that apple too.
You know what I like to do is I like to pull the random creature charts and just roll on them and see what I get with the multiple eyes. You know, a great one is if anyone's ever watched Pan's Labyrinth with that thing that was like.
That thing's so cool.
You
You
know,
love that one, Jackie. That's like.
Yeah. And there is a
freaking-
3D model of that you can print. Free on Thingiverse.
but I, you know, and to be fair, it's Guillermo del Toro did a lot of this stuff, but you know, that's what comes into it. It's like it's familiar enough, but it's also horrific because it's different. You know, and I love having different eyes in there. I love having like some of, you know, everyone talks about tentacles, but man, the pseudopods that come in and just like, you know, especially if they come in really slowly and touch someone and they're just like, you know, it doesn't even have to necessarily be terrible.
What was that movie called?
It's there's just, I think that's the great thing if you really want to use Eldritch horrors is.
Well, there's one exception, Omen. The
Yeah.
Great Race is the most ridiculous. That wouldn't scare a 4-year-old. They're so ridiculous.
I don't know the story.
Cone Boy?
Yeah, the cones with the 4 tentacles and like one of each tentacle. One's an eye stalk, one's a pincher. There's just these weird things that trade your brain for theirs throughout history, and they just go back in time or forward in time to watch and learn from history, then write it all down, and then eventually they get taken over by some cockroaches. They're just a ridiculous. I don't know what he was smoking back then when he wrote that story, but funny thing is that it was actually used in the Fabulous Furry Freak Brothers. If anybody remembers that comic book,
No.
they were actually in there, and they actually, you know, this was back in the 60s. And they actually, one of the Freak Brothers got transported, and it was just, oh my God, these were just the dorkiest looking creatures to ever, you know, be called an Eldritch horror.
Well, part of it just comes down to is, again, you know, if you really want to look at a really fun one, go look at the Gibbering Mouther from D&D.
Well, I think that was just a blatant ripoff of the Shoggoth. To be honest, a way to use this every detail of the Shoggoth, except like the history of how they used to be the servitors of, you know.
But again, you know, we're nerds for. Oh, cool! I get to learn about the background.
Oh, you've got one. You know what I'm talking about, then, right?
Yeah.
Look, he's got a gun. Check it out. He's got like a gun on him.
Yeah, I wanted to get that model, but it still doesn't inspire a lot of fear.
I'm
I'm looking at pictures, and some of them are all right. Some of them are the goofiest thing ever, but some of them are all right.
But I mean, but you're trying to pick like the ones. What I use them, if they look ridiculous, I'm not going to throw them in there unless I want something ridiculous in the game. But I do like Ogatas and Neo Ogatas, you know, with those pseudopods and the giant mouth, and you're like, oh. I mean, the point is that you want to kill alien, and you want it. You know, it's like, okay, what is it doing? And you don't have to assign motivations to it. I think that's the problem. Is everyone wants to assign a motivation. Well, I want to make this into my character. And whether people realize it or not, because you see this all the time in movies, is they treat horses like dogs. Horses and dogs do not think the same. They think very differently. And the problem is that people try humanizing everything without realizing.
Anthropomorphize, yeah.
Well, anthropomorphize is a little bit different, but I'm saying, but they try humanizing things rather than saying a dog is going to think like a dog and a horse is going to think like a horse. And if you want to understand a horse, you need to think like a horse. And in these cases, it's an alien horror. Characters aren't going to be able to empathize with it, and that's why I think insects are such a good job, because I don't empathize with the praying mantis. I just know that that's a deadly.
Hold on, Brian.
Like-
I'm going to blow you up so we can see what you're showing.
I'm just showing some of my stuff.
Are those from Cthulhu Wars?
This is a Reaper, actually. This is one of those.
Oh, we have those ones.
And
We
then,
have that exact miniature.
the old the Dark Young.
Oh, see,
Yeah.
that's so like cool. But that reminds me of so much of the Thing. With all of when it comes in with all the faces and stuff coming apart. Yeah, it's.
Shub-Niggurath. What was the other one? The Black Goat of 1,000 Young. What was the other one you showed off? I got you on solo so we can see it bigger.
Oh, these are like these underground.
Oh, I've got a crap ton of those. I love those things.
I'm sorry, my camera sucks, guys.
No, I know what you're talking about. I forget the names of them.
They're Zthonian.
Yeah.
They're like giant. They're almost like boring.
Who makes those?
Reaper.
This is a Reaper. These are both Reapers, man. These are those. These are from
The Bones
the
line.
Bones collection. Yeah, they're like a couple bucks, dude. They're like a few bucks.
I'll have to look into them because they're both
Yeah.
sweet models
They're
and
great.
sweet paint jobs too, bro.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah,
Let's see if I have any
I've got
other-
some in metal and some in the white plastic. I hate the white plastic, but whatever. I've also got all of the
There's a
the
deep
things
one.
from Cthulhu Wars that I one of these days I have to actually paint and get onto the table.
I got some.
I'm never going to play that game without a whole bunch of other players. Just being
Yeah,
Jack.
you need a bunch of players for that one.
Yeah, and I've got literally everything, including the cats, which are probably the scariest.
I got here's my Mythos case. Let me show you guys a couple things if you want to see them. Here's my these are my here's my space vampires. Easy, they're just fireballs.
Okay.
And then here's your hounds of Tindalos.
Tindalos, the Hounds of Tindalos. Yeah. The Reaper versions suck. They're
Yeah.
tiny. They're tiny. I mean, you
Well,
can
these are what I'm using for the sand people. They're just like little.
Oh,
Wow, perfect.
those actually look like some old archive miniatures, believe it or not.
Let's see what we got. These are like the what are the blob things, like the not the Shoggoth, but the I can't remember what they're fucking called.
I agree, Al. I've always thought the Tyranids were some sort of Cthulhu, Eldritch horror.
Here's
Yeah.
here's
Oh,
your
no,
killer
They're
things.
meant to be
agree with-
more like the bugs from Starship.
but see, I like the Tyranids because you
Yeah.
can't rationalize with them. You can't, negotiate with them, and that's part of the thing that's in there. It's like, well, wait a minute, this isn't.
Is that a Gug?
No, this is so like in my Weird War II. I especially hate Australia for some reason. I want to destroy Australia. So the Migo come down and they take over Australia and they release millions of these things, and all they do is feed on anything, any living matter.
Yeah.
Average day in Australia.
So Australia is just
Yeah.
I mean, they've
Do
already
you think
got
the
those.
Australians even noticed?
Hey,
Wait. The problem is everything's eating the stuff and is eating them too.
These are those like Tiki Kiku guys.
Tico, whatever. So many of them are impossible to pronounce. It's just
I
like
know.
he must have had
Oh.
actual random letter dice. H.P.
Yeah.
Lovecraft.
Well, I think that was
Anyway,
deliberate
that's a few of the
to,
things,
to evoke the sense of inability to comprehend, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, because you want it to be alien, so you can't comprehend it.
and you want to make it as hard to pronounce as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, to
But
reinforce
that way you don't
that.
accidentally summon them.
Yeah.
Speaking of summoning, does anybody remember that episode? I think it was Tales from the Dark Side with Ron Glass playing like a devil, and I forget the other actor, where this mathematician accidentally summoned the devil, and Ron Glass was the devil, and every time they showed him, he had a different T-shirt on with a different sort of satanic.
I think that was Monsters, actually.
Was it Monsters? And
Monsters.
my
Yeah.
favorite one was Let's Do Damnation. Back then,
Yeah.
as a kid, I was like, yeah.
You know what is sad is Tales from the Dark Side, The Outer Limits, Monsters, and what was the other? There was another one. We're all around that really cool time period of the '90s, and nowadays we get almost nothing. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
we
you
really
get
do
you
get,
get
like,
half-assed
nothing.
remakes of them that last about a season and are just
Well, I don't care if it just lasts the season. The problem is because most of them were one-offs. They were just one episodes. But
Tales from the Dark Side, they did one like last year, right? So
Hold on.
did they? I don't
Keep it up. Keep it up. Let me see.
Oh, okay. So here's some night gaunts.
Yeah, those night gaunts are another one of my favorites. I've got some really good RAFM metal versions of them. They're pretty terrifying.
Here's the Migo.
With a laser gun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's got a gun.
Yeah.
Well, I think part of it also is, and this is important, is
Some deep ones.
Deep ones.
You can never have enough of those. Oh, okay, am I the only one who thinks the creature from the Black Lagoon was a deep one?
no. I think
No, he was a humanoid from the deep. If you know the movies, you know what I'm talking about.
Which just reminds me, I still need to watch that. I haven't started doing my horror movies yet. So.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's about. And then there's these weird things. What are these? These are Bakis.
Yeah, those are pretty cool too.
Weird looking. Yeah, but anyway, that's all.
Am I the only one who got turned on to H.P. Lovecraft by the Deities and Demigods book?
Yes, because when I bought the Deities and Demigods, it didn't exist.
Sorry to hear that, man.
Well, it to be fair, is I didn't get, when I got into it was 1982, around that 1982, 1983 time frame. Well, I guess I was 8 years old, so it'd be 1982.
No, it had to have been a little later because I got an original copy of the Deities and Demigods book from Gemco, if anybody remembers that. And I had already actually read some H.P. Lovecraft stuff because I got it from one of the book club, when you had the book club, come to your school and sell you a paperback book. And I got one of H.P. Lovecraft stories, and I didn't know who the hell he was. And I was reading them, and then the Deities and Demigods book came out, and the artwork in there was just, Earl Otis classic weird stuff to begin with, his own weird style.
I want to address L for a minute. Yes, Blue Lagoon was a deep one, but not anything in the movie. The movie itself and being forced to watch it.
Oh well.
Wait, I have a question.
Go ahead. We can't see you though. What are you doing?
Laying on the bed.
Okay. You're pulling an Omen. I got you.
Yeah,
I'm too lazy to get up and sit on the chair and turn my camera back on.
No. What is your question? Let's not worry about which.
Yes,
position.
my question is the fairy godmother from Shrek classified as an Eldritch horror?
No, but Shrek would.
Never seen it.
No. That's the other thing that I think is sometimes was supposed to. Dragons could be considered if you give them that truly alien intelligence and don't try making them more like Smog.
Like maybe Godzilla.
Godzilla would actually be a pretty good one for that whole thing. Because
I think more like an Avatar.
Incarnations, yeah. In other incarnations, absolutely not.
That's fair.
Well, I mean, a good one is the thing from
now Jack's question. Sorry, now you were saying.
No, go for it.
Jack's question. The parasites, like in The Faculty, or
that was good.
There's another movie from the 80s that was similar.
The Blob. We think
No, the one where it comes in on an alien ship at the beginning.
Critters.
And then it Critters where it invades the dorm.
Oh no! Night of the Creeps.
Night of the Creeps.
Yeah,
Night of the Creeps. I was looking for the name, but I couldn't find it. That's the one that really freaks me out because
that's a good one.
You never know who's the possessed element of the unknown intelligence, and the people that are possessed didn't make the choice.
Yeah,
like the cultists do.
Yes. So I'm going to bring up something which is really good. We're talking about this, and I know H.P. Lovecraft talked about it, and the problem was Ridley Scott just made it fall flat. Fungi infecting you and then slowly going up towards your brain, and look at that. And those are, especially when you start seeing things like pop out, and they're going to.
Dude, I ran into a guy like that at Walmart the other day. Actually, it was a Dollar Tree, and it was funny. The woman, it was a guy and a girl, and the guy had this thing just growing out of the side of his freaking head, and she they were joking around, and she called him retarded, and I'm like, thinking to myself, woman, have you not seen the thing growing on the side of his freaking head?
But I mean, but that's part. Well, if you look, especially when they do it to insects and they start coming out and starts creating that flowering, and it causes them to do weird things that act like not normal for like an ant.
Mm-hmm.
But those are always great. I love that stuff. It's just, especially when you start looking at it, and Ridley Scott just. The problem is that Ridley Scott tries making things too fast. If you give things time to develop and allow the horror to develop, it works much, much better. And why in the world he likes Michael Fassbender, I don't know. That
is a bad part of modern movie making, is speeding things up unnecessarily. I was just watching a thing that will make me absolutely hate the Lord of the Rings movies from now on, and that's the obsession with the close-up in face, like the guy was deconstructing the scene at the council, and how every time they're like zooming in on everybody's face for no reason. Like
I was watching one of them where they're talking about blocking and showing all the stuff. But it was interesting when they do the long cut, especially if they do the cut that's almost continuous, like 1917. I need to see that. Apparently that one was where it seems like it's almost continuous, and I don't mind stuff like that. It's but a lot of times it's that you're right, they snap back and forth. You don't do that. Like the other part that comes into it is
this. Do we need to see a close up of Jack's face?
Absolutely.
He's not even talking.
Wait.
I want to put him on the spot.
Wait, what did I do? I was just looking around.
It was the glitter behind you right there on your left hand. In your left
checking out your room. What kind of weird shit you got back there?
Yeah, all kinds of crap.
Some new things in here.
What about the classic Invasion of the Body Snatchers?
Yeah, well, that's what I was getting at with the.
But I think what I like is not the classic
Triffids.
one. I like the 1977 version better than the original.
Really?
Well, the original was just kind of a pod, and they just kind of, if you're talking about the black and white one, right?
Yep, the classic.
It was okay, but I actually thought the 1977 one was better.
The one with
there are two different stories.
Sutherland, the older Sutherland.
Yes, Donald Sutherland and
you kind of need it as the prequel, I think.
You don't. I never saw it with a prequel.
You need the black and white as the prequel. I mean, you can go into it and watch,
it's also
the color version, but I think the original black and white, especially since it's barely over an hour long, is a great way to introduce somebody to the whole thing. Here's the first one. Here's the second one. I think there's even a third one.
There's multiple. It's
Body Snatcher.
But the original one, I hate saying it.
I
actually, but a lot of them are hokey. Let's be honest.
I actually really like Dean Koontz's one.
Oh
Puppet Masters.
That was great.
Is that
Dean Koontz or is that Heinlein with Puppet Masters?
Heinlein wrote the original Puppet Masters,
but that movie is, I think, a Dean Koontz movie.
Yeah, that Puppet Masters is a fantastic, totally underrated movie, dude. You guys, if you have not seen that, watch that.
I'm still reading. I'm still finishing the Heinlein version of the novel because it's so very different from Invasion of the Body Snatchers. But then again, it does take place in the future. Hey, Jack, you ready to share your monstrosity with us?
Oh, I thought we were gonna do this a different way. I thought we were gonna.
Oh, we're actually cruising up to. We got about 45 minutes of the show, and I don't want to try to shove it into the last 50 minutes.
Well, we can go a bit over the 2-hour mark.
It was Heinlein.
Okay.
Okay, because did everybody but me give an example of a good Eldritch horror thing?
Go for it then. Yeah, go for it. I'd love another excuse to do this to you.
Oh, great. Fine. But did you see the emails I sent you?
No,
I did not.
Oh, because I sent you 3 pictures. One of them has nothing to do with what I'm going to talk about. I just saw it and I thought it was kind of
Let me
Cool.
see if I can actually find my email. Oh, there we go.
I think you'll recognize which one is the one that has nothing to do with the rest of them, and I want you to show people them.
Okay, I'll see if I can do that.
Okay, it's the one with the brain.
Yeah, and L, we mentioned Children of the Damned 2 weeks ago in part 1. They are definitely an Eldritch horror.
That's great. That's a great movie.
Yeah, all 97 versions of it.
Yeah. Just the whole scene, the whole idea of like a whole town just falling asleep or just falling prone, and then like them finding the barriers through trial and error. That was awesome.
Good. Definitely one of Stephen King's better works.
I don't think Stephen King made that many good things.
You would actually be wrong on that. He does get a little preachy in his more recent stuff, but if you go back to his older stuff, especially the things he wrote as Batchman, what was the full name?
The Bachman books?
Yeah, the Bachman books. Yeah. You should read The Road. Or not The Road, the Long Walk. The Long Walk.
I heard of that
one. It's like that there's a restructuring in the U.S. government-wise, and I think it's on the 16th birthday or something like that. Every boy has to walk from one side of the U.S. to the other, and if your heart rate goes below a certain amount, you get shot.
Jeez,
that seems rather arbitrary.
Yeah, and everyone who survives gets like a wish or something like that. I don't know.
So what you're telling me is that this is how they implement the COVID shots?
Yes.
There's a recent movie,
according to Shadowchat,
like a teeny bot movie where it's like kids have to pass a certain test. If they don't get a certain percentage, they're killed.
So years ago, if anyone watched the 1980 version of the Twilight Zone, they actually had that part where if you scored too high on the test, they killed you. They killed your kids.
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
I know there was a movie like that. It was a movie made by Logan Paul about basically that. You had to pass the test, and if you failed, die.
I liked Logan Paul's movie about going to Japan.
That was a good one.
As soon as you said Logan Paul, I lost you.
Logan Paul is the definition of is racing his way to the bottom of the barrel. Yeah. Like he was. I don't think he's ever
why
done
North
something.
America needs to be carbon nuked.
Logan Paul has never done something with the intention of being good in his entire life.
Can I change my answer to what an Eldritch horror is?
Yes, you can.
Logan Paul.
His girlfriend?
Good answer.
No,
or
just
fiance. No,
I don't even know who the guy you guys are talking about.
Be thankful. Be thankful, you blessed heart.
It doesn't
really innocent child.
Oh yeah, that's the movie I was talking about, Jack. That's the one I'm referring to.
What?
Wait, you watched a Logan Paul movie?
Yeah, it's that one where the kids got to like take a test, and if they don't pass, they die.
Oh yeah, the guy who made that movie.
He's a legitimate Eldritch horror.
Yeah, in real life Eldritch horror. Anyways, wasn't Shadwell trying to get some structure going here?
I try that from time to time, but it never works.
Wait, I'll give my answer to what I think is a good Eldritch horror, and then you can give off your thing, and then I'll do my thing and whatever. But do you have the email?
Yeah, but I can't pull up the picture.
Why not?
Because I don't know how.
Who the hell is?
Go save your pop.
I'll go do that, and when I come back, I'm giving my answers.
Where's this other kid you have at your place? Is he like in the basement chained up or something, Shadow?
No.
He's mowing the lawn.
I wish.
Where's this kid? He's not even part of the fun. What's going down?
He's more of a video game kid, a musician.
Shy or
Just
something?
doesn't really participate in this sort of thing.
Oh. Jeez.
So who has the police?
Omen, they're coming for you,
me.
dude. Stayed in one place for too long.
Wait a minute. How in the world are they driving that fast by your place? I can't drive that fast near.
Who the hell is this Landazers guy?
It doesn't matter. Lanasa is the one that tried doing the
You
Star
still going?
Frontiers
No, just this one.
for
Oh,
TSR.
Where's
Yeah.
the? Okay.
he bought the rights to it, and then they sued him.
No, he didn't buy the rights. What happens? They let it lapse, and then he decided to take over some of the stuff. But anyway, it was between you and I. What I think he was trying to do is he was trying to make it so bad that TSR was going to give him money to bury it. That's what I think his original plan was.
Oh,
But instead, TSR sued him, and now he owes like $300,000 or something to WotC. So, well, that's what you get.
I mean, are those judgments still in effect because TSR is now defunct? I mean, do those
No.
judgments
Well,
get expunged?
those are all owned. They were owned by TSR. The real point is that they sued him for defamation. Basically for destroying the trademark or whatever, and he lost. He lost, and it was. But what I think really came down to it is I think he was trying to write something so bad and horrific that Hasbro would just pay him off. I think that was his original plan because he knew no one would buy that stuff. So
wasn't he the guy that added actual races and shit into the game?
yes, he had the Nordic and the Negro, and it was just like, what are you? But that's what I mean. So I think he did that intentionally instead of trying to making a good game. He did that intentionally so WotC would pay him off. I think is what his original plan was.
Yeah.
And that's anyway, the whole point being is I just care about good games. Make a damn good game.
I bet it was a better system than anything WotC came up with.
Actually, to be fair on this, the problem that you have with 5e is it's just so milk toast. It's
and
not
the
that it's bad. It's just not that it's not that it's that good, and it has no flavor to it. Is the problem with it is they bring out a book and then they never support it. I've been talking to Shadow about Dark Sun, and Dark Sun has a bunch of cool stuff that we can use for Eldritch horrors, and yet when they're doing these things,
they strip that crap out.
Well, I mean, look at the sheer number of supplements they have, and WotC has what? One, maybe two supplements for whatever setting they have. They have one for Eberron. They have what? One for Forgotten Realms. And then all they care about is adventures. And I'm like, adventures are lazy. Adventures are fine, but if I want to live in the world, redo it. I agree with Al there. They don't make bad games. It's just not D&D. It's how do I want to put this? What it reminds me of is whatever you liked of D&D. It now just remove all the taste, and it's kind of like it's like going to have a communion wafer as regular bread. You're just, it's it's if you're hungry, it's better than nothing. But otherwise, it's.
Well, I just think the advertising of it is so massive, and just the name recognition that people just coming to it not knowing anything of the past. It's just that's what they assume it is all about.
Well. Here's what comes down to a lot of it is it has a built-in fan base. So if you have a fan base and you want to play a role-playing game, you do 5e, but that doesn't mean it's there aren't other things out there.
Yeah, I agree. It's just like GW, man. It's like a starting point.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't badmouth Tofurky, man. You put enough gravy on that shit, it's palatable.
Wait, but I like that. You know what? If you put enough gravy on just about anything, it can be palatable.
No.
You put enough gravy on a phone book, it's tasty.
No. If you put enough
it has extra fiber then.
Ebook, it still needs to go into the fireplace.
Well, and I disagree with L. No, I believe that games need. Well, okay, I guess what he's saying is a different kind of ball. I think that you need to explore the different rules for games and different feelings for games, and that's why we have so many clones. But I've never mentioned the Call of Cthulhu. You know what brought me into Call of Cthulhu? The role-playing game by Chaosium, Call of Cthulhu, because everyone talked about it so much. But I when it came to D&D, I'm like, oh, that's it. It's just a different flavor for everything, and that's one of the reasons I like different mechanics. Give me different stuff in there. And it just depends on what I want to play. But
I'm of the opposite opinion on you on that, where the mechanic is, as long as it's simple and consistent and doesn't get in the way of telling the story, I don't care what it is.
I'm going to say this much: different games do different things better, and they have different focus. It's just like experience. Like Call of Cthulhu it's not a game that I would ever run if I'm going to do a combat-oriented system. I know RuneQuest has some of that, but for what it does, I think it's actually pretty good for the corruption and everything else. But again, everyone goes through different phases. But I think part of the thing is let's talk about our favorite settings that you've used Eldritch horrors in.
Yeah.
Because we all talk about these different games, but what are some good ones that have good Eldritch horrors that you enjoy playing?
World War II. It's fucking epic.
Yeah. World War II is definitely.
Well, I
can get into it.
World War II is kind of overrated.
I think World War II is overrated.
Weird World War II.
Well, that's still part of the whole thing.
It's funny because I consider the entire idea that Brian's trying to share with us, the weirdness is pretty much like every semi-historical game, whether it be a board war or role-playing game. As soon as you veer off just a tad from just replaying it exactly word for word, minute by minute, you're into that weird area, that sort of twilight zone of gaming. You're looking at an alternate dimension, and that instantly makes it weird.
Yeah,
that's why. That's weird.
That's why my king is Oswald First of the House of Mosley.
There you go.
Well, part of it is we're looking at things also from when we say modern audience, what I want to say is I don't even want to say more cultured audience, where we have gotten exposed to so many different genres and different ideas that the past did not. It gives a big difference in those aspects. Then we lose some of the things.
The wonder.
There is the wonder, but then we also lose just some of the basic stuff. Is that I know that Shadow and I have been going back and forth over Dark Sun, and to realize what our ancestors have to go through, and yet they did wonderful things when you look at it in the Neolithic era. That sometimes we forget about this. We're just like, oh, they're not sophisticated, they're insignificant, they didn't know what they were doing. Like, no, they did for what they had based on what was around.
Yeah, based on their limitations and abilities.
I mean, you got to think
they were far more accomplished than the average person is today.
A lot of the geekdom that we enjoy right now were written in the early 1900s or the late 1800s, or you know what I mean. So it's
or at least the massive foundations that they're based on.
Exactly, like Star Wars took from the King Arthur mythos and all that shit, and just the what is it, the heroic story,
the hero's journey
format.
Yeah, like that's journey. One. What's his name? Campbell. Not Bruce Campbell.
The hero's journey.
The hero's journey by Bruce Campbell. But thanks for the new shirt idea.
Well, no, I mean, he's right. If you look at our modern view of vampires, comes from Bram Stoker. It does not come from the historical stuff for a lot of things.
That's why I was really thinking about that earlier with let the wrong one in, right one in, whatever. that is such a better story to me than Dracula, because it maintains the mystery and the absolute darkness of what it is to be a vampire, the secular nature of using that man, then the boy is to be the new man, and then he will eventually get replaced by another boy. Every 15 years or so.
But we have to remember too is, people have foundations on there, and which ones broke things. Is the problem that I have with it's just like everyone talk about. I don't like Tolkien, blah blah blah. Tolkien set the groundwork so we could have elves and halflings and everything else. Yeah. And I think that's that's the problem with it is everyone looks at it and doesn't appreciate where they went forward with this.
I mean, you can dislike the books that Tolkien wrote. I think it's a pretty stupid thing to dislike him personally in any way, because racism, which one isn't true, two, stupid.
I wish he was racist.
Of course you do. Of course you do, Justin.
He was pro-human and pro-halfling. And anti-orc.
Also, he was part halfling.
It's one thing to dislike the word. Like, you cannot like The Hobbit. You cannot like Lord of the Rings. Fine, whatever. But it's one thing to just dislike them, and it's one thing to ignore the precedent.
The foundation.
And that they, exactly.
Well, I mean,
also,
that's part
orc lives do matter.
So
for a racist, that's pretty interesting of you to say.
It only matters whenever you're playing Shadowrun. The whole thing of but then we have Cthulhu. The Cthulhu mythos came out of nowhere for the most part. That's I don't find a lot of stuff that mentions things similar, and that's why he.
Did you read any of Lord Dunsany?
Well, they're called psychology books.
Lord Dunsany or Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah. Well,
Edgar Allan Poe is the most overrated.
Poe was more like monsters and like psychological breakdowns. It wasn't cosmic horror.
Yeah.
No. I think he just like all of us. He takes what inspires us and then take it to the next step, or in some cases 10 steps ahead of that to sort of outpace what we were inspired by. I'm going to take this time to give you guys a little breakdown of my Eldritch horror. It basically starts with kind of your typical sort of or stereotypical parasitic infection, whether it be a man, a woman,
usually a pregnant woman.
In Jackie's case, it was a pregnant woman who had gone into the hospital and literally exploded into hundreds and hundreds of these tiny, have you ever seen a tadpole? Imagine a tadpole, but about 6 inches long, but with two tails, and the ability.
So she was like a sandworm.
I suppose she just splattered the hospital room and everybody around with these little black parasites that squidged away and did their thing, and as they evolve, they evolve into several stages. Let me see if I can find that part.
She had a spice blow. That's what she.
Right. Oh God, that's disgusting, but funny.
Oh, no, come on. That's how.
If enough of the parasites get together, you get kind of. Mind you, they're all shiny black. All of the incarnations of it. That way, you get that sort of alien feel to it. Even in the darkness, you can't see it. Shine light on it, all you see is some shiny black thing. The next stage is a sort of blobby tentacle with one large maw full of shiny black teeth that tries to ingest you. And then the third stage is something of like a very shiny black. What do I got here? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Like a 12-legged, highly chitined, armored mouth with 12 legs, kind of spider-like but shiny, etc. And if enough of those get together, you get a towering monster. Hold on, let me go to solo layout just for this scene so I can show you. I'm actually working on a clay. I've been working on it for like 2 years, but a clay version of the same thing. It's just the little.
It's a giant pickle with legs.
Pickle. It's a xenomorph pickle with legs.
Right.
Well, I thought it was a pickle, and then he showed the bottom of it, and now I'm just thinking it looks like a cat penis.
Yeah. Each of the leggy things are hard chitin spikes, and there's just tons of them.
Everything Shadow fears ends up being a penis.
An unwashed one.
An infected, infected one.
But believe it or not, when I ran this for the little guy, it was creepy as hell because I did run it Drew cat penis. Really, I've never seen one, so I don't know. But
just look down next time you're naked.
Apparently, they have barbs. So anyway, go ahead.
For her pleasure.
They
and resistance.
It just continues the cycle until eventually enough of the final stage, which are the overseers, not they will eventually, if possible, port in something even nastier. Yeah, Raven, I was thinking the same thing.
How does it procreate then? I mean, you tell us the stages, but
through the the infecting or inhabiting other people. I could do it with just all kinds of like livestock and things like that. But I figure that's not scary enough. Otherwise, and it would obviously just mathematically just happen so fast that the game would be over really quick. It's got to be people. It's got to be the invasion of the body snatcher. Whoever's infected or taken over by them obviously is going to at first sort of freak out, but then
kind of like Slither.
Then kind of come to it until they can get
Night
to
of the Creeps.
Get to a place where they can unwittingly explode into lots more of the parasites to then continue the cycle until the goal was, if enough of the overseers were to inhabit enough cities or places within a certain area, they would literally warp portals, some even nastier thing in, maybe an army of creatures, or maybe just the great Cthulhu or something like that. But either way, it would take something like a psychic or someone to question an infected person that I could leave clues that, oh my gosh, there's more of these, and if you get enough of them, they're going to bring in the apocalypse or something like that. But I wanted to just use something that people couldn't attribute to another mythos, and thus kind of use metagaming knowledge to ruin the.
We're going to ignore L's comment.
Actually, you know what? Ella has an open invitation, is what Shadow says. If L wants to join,
he can, because of apparently he's still actually paying for data by the minute or something.
Oh, okay.
Which I didn't know there were people who still did that, or companies that still did that, I should say. I want to interview L because the guy always makes us laugh, but we never get to hear his voice at least.
He's a voice in the outer darkness.
God, you guys are horrible.
Well, let's not forget about Tremors for an Eldritch horror.
Nah, that's not. I don't think that's.
Tremors is too. Like, you could refilm that to be an Eldritch horror movie.
Yeah. But I mean, the actual monster is, but the film itself is campy, which is what it's like. It's like arachnophobia. You
mean Xenophobia, the greatest movie ever made?
No, I mean arachnophobia.
Young boy, you really need to be exposed to my favorite sport, and that is taser tag, in which you do not have a gun.
Taser tag. Well, here's the problem. is Justin has been hit one too many times with his own tape.
Hey, I've been hit with a taser a couple of times. It is not fun. There's no aspect of it that is fun, and if it is fun for you, you kind of need some help.
Well,
Jack, with 15 minutes left of the regular show, you want to take over from here?
Yes. However, I will say one thing because this is going to be very slow. My computer is having an aneurysm right now, so things might take a while when it comes to the pictures. However,
why
I
did
want
you
to
allow your father to touch it?
It's a good question. I shouldn't have never done that, but I did.
Did you mean to write tumor there, Al?
It's not a tumor.
It's not a tumor.
No. I think.
Oh
he
my
means
God, I
humor.
love that line.
It's not a tumor.
I think he means humor. HUMO.
Oh, I know he does. I just that's just what
Actually-
came to mind.
Oh. What was that shirt idea I had earlier?
Your damn shirts.
Hey man, one of these days one will sell.
Well,
if I had some money, I'd buy
I still
one.
like Cthulhu 2024, which says "No lives matter."
Oh yeah, that's great.
That's the only version of that I've seen that's actually super good.
No,
I
I
just
actually I like it. I like several others. Why vote for a lesser evil?
Yeah, that was good. I like the. You guys ever watch MST 3000?
Yeah, I
I
used to.
tried to, but I got
Prince of
Best
Space.
one was Daddy-O.
Crankcore. It's like Crankcore for president or something like that. It's pretty good. And it says ha 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 ha. It's great.
the other thing is audiences have become more sophisticated, so it's harder to frighten them nowadays. That's the other thing, because now you just you sit back and you laugh. Like I saw, I think that's the other part to it as well, is things that scared older audiences don't scare us. Because we've seen
nothing scares us anymore. That's the problem, guys. There's literally nothing that scares us. Hey, what's happening, Nathan?
You say that as soon as you put someone in a dark room, and I had several friends that used to do the haunted house stuff, and they said the guys that scared the most were the biggest, buffest guys, and then they would get mad because you scared them, and then they'd chase you around because you made them look.
What scared the hell out of me was the mist.
Hey, what's
it
up,
wasn't the
Minnie?
monsters. It wasn't the monsters. It was the situation where I was in a car with 5 bullets with 6 people, and my son is there, and I had a choice. That is fucking frightening.
Oh yeah.
Holy shit!
Hey, Minnie, what do you think?
I love and hate the ending of that. Oh, that's beautiful.
Dude, if you have I saw that when I didn't have kids first, and then I saw it again when I had kids. It's a completely different movie, man.
Yeah.
Which movie?
The Mist at the very end.
Oh fuck yeah!
He kills the 2 old people, his love interest and son. I think it's his wife. And he's sitting there with the gun trying to pull the trigger as the soldiers arrive to rescue them. And it's just the most horrific thing that happens in that movie.
It is, man.
You got this guy?
Just because if he had waited
awesome.
but a moment.
Yeah, it was very reminiscent of something Stephen King might have written.
Because he did write it.
He did write
okay. One more reason to hate his fucking guts.
No, because it's the point of that story.
Oh, you got that thing built. Good job.
Yeah.
Doing a little
why would
Justin
you
salute for
a
you?
little articulation there.
Justin salute. I'm doing it right now in response.
There's a new t-shirt idea. Justin salute.
I'll have a few more things ready for the this freaking bear, but it's just not coming out right.
Yeah.
Too yellow.
You just need to put a wash over it, man.
Yeah.
Tone it down.
The actual pictures, they're like bright yellow, and I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah. Maybe use a yellow wash, like a mustard, like a.
You know what I think? I think a good green and brownish would actually tone it down and give it some.
I'll be there shortly, Nathan.
Yeah.
Depth.
I thought you guys weren't doing that tonight.
Oh no, I do it every Saturday with those guys.
No.
Just Jackie wants this show to run a little late.
I didn't hear Jackie's. Is he going to do it?
I don't know what happened to him.
He said his computer was having an issue. There he is.
Jackie.
I can't unmute you, Jackie. What's going on?
Jackie.
I think he's trying to pull up something.
Rudy.
What?
I think Jackie's trying to get his images up and ready.
You hit the present button, and then you hit the show screen.
They don't show up. The files just don't show up when I do that.
Okay, you got to open them first in like some picture thing or something.
That's what I'm doing. It's just taking a while.
Okay.
You can try share screen.
Well, yeah, but I need to pull the pictures up first.
Oh, okay. Well, pull the pictures up.
Well, I'm doing that. I'm doing it. I'm just
See?
a little nervous. We're running out of time.
Taser tag.
Okay, so
It's everything
I
in
guess now
perspective.
that I'm almost done, I will start my explanation.
You definitely know you hit your opponent when he screams out in pain.
Well, the great thing about taser tag is everyone says, "I'm it."
No, we when I was in high school, we modified a collection of laser tag.
Wait a minute. Jack actually has something he's going to say. We've interrupted
Okay,
Jack.
Jack. Okay,
I was
Jack,
stalling
you have
so I
our
could bring up the
undivided
pictures.
attention.
Okay, so I'm going to start my explanation now. Okay, Canada.
I accept.
Scary already.
Yeah. All right. So what I went into this wanting to create something completely unrelated to anything I'd created previously, and then I got kind of busy. But are you coming down the stairs? Oh, okay.
It was a dark and night.
He got his taser out.
You gotta say he did.
He's just like saying, "Okay, Jack, here's how you know what a taser feels like. I want you to jam it into your leg."
Yeah.
Nothing personal, son.
No, leg, not butt.
It's a life lesson.
Hey, it's better than my ex who shot my son in the forehead.
Okay. Wait, Jack's time. Let's listen to Jack.
Yeah, that's it. Go ahead, Jack. Sorry.
All right. So it's more of like this consciousness, whatever it is, if it's several hive mind, it exists inside of the earth, and it manifests itself in a valley in Canada. And around this area, any sentient creature, mostly humans, that go in, it takes them, and it just gets them, and it decapitates them, takes their mind in. This is an actual real place in Canada that does exist. And anyone who enters into this valley they'll be captured, they'll be decapitated, and it'll surround their head in a way that it keeps their soul and mind in there, and then it'll absorb it, and then release it as a sort of hive mind creature that'll then wander and then drag other people into the area with it. It can.
Is that called Ottawa?
Yes.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
Canonically, Justin Trudeau is one of them.
I just had to make sure.
I'm muted. I was saying yes.
Yeah. So it exists. Primarily, its physical being exists within the Valley of Headless Men, if you know where and what that is. And it has its minions go out and capture people and bring it to it so that it can increase its hive mind and increase its own consciousness and its own ability with each mind that it enslaves to itself. And it's
Lovecraft had a similar story. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh wait, no, something just happened. I'm trying to do something.
Lovecraft had like The Thing in the Lake. I think there was a short story. It sounds a little similar to that.
Was that the one he wrote with someone else though?
I'm not sure.
Now, if you guys want to know why Max Bovin is always sweaty and never doing
What the hell is
streams,
that?
it's because he's fighting these things.
Yeah.
Is that like a politician or something?
No.
No, he's a
guy in
fellow
the circles.
YouTuber.
Oh, okay.
You'll meet him, Mr. Max. You'll meet him.
I may,
I'm pretty
I think
sure.
he's on Nature's Musings right now.
That show should be over.
I may have met him.
Yeah, no, he's still there. So I need to
Yeah,
refresh
any
my-
luck, Jack?
Yes, I have much luck. It's just really slow, but it is working. Anyways, back to where I was. And it's not just like this one entity that exists in this one location. It is anchored there. It can't move. It's stuck there and it can't move. And it's bringing all these things to it to eventually get... Because currently, in what I've thought of right now, currently, at the point that is going on, it can project its mind anywhere on Earth. And it wishes to be able to expand even further so that it can do the same thing everywhere and have every single thing that exists within its own mind, so that, not for any particular reason I want to explain. But-
Isn't it called college?
Yes, it is.
College.
Make sure. Just making sure.
Yeah.
The humanities.
That's what I took.
Oh, the humanities.
Women's studies.
But yeah, it's this
Jane Austen novels were great.
yeah, this consciousness which is anchored in Canada, and it brings people into it, enslaves them, and then sets them to go forth to bring even more to add to its collective mind. And if I can get the pictures ready, that would be very nice.
Way to go, Canada. Our doom starts in Canada. Wonderful.
Yeah,
Our doom starts in. I don't think I'm allowed to say. It's a country. It's got a white flag. There's some blue on
I took down the flag, Justin, just so you know.
it. Woohoo! I win.
Yeah, I don't though, but I don't want to explain why. It's actually the new flag is fine.
Yeah. What's the new flag?
It's a flag that I made. And
Ooh.
The Vatican City has a flag too, right?
yes, it does, and I
Well, the
will-
Vatican is its own country.
I know. That's, I'm asking if it has a flag.
Yeah, the Vatican has a flag.
That's cool. I just don't know what it is.
It's one of the very few square flags in the world. It's white and gold, with then the seal of the Vatican on the white side.
Oh, okay. Very cool. The Holy See.
Okay, I'm going to present it. Wait, hold up. One more thing I want to add. This isn't connected in any way. This isn't very efficient, but I like it.
Dun, dun, dun. Dude, drum roll, Shadow. Give us a
Don't do
drum
the
roll.
drum rolls yet.
Not yet? Okay.
Drum roll.
I'm winded.
I don't drum roll people. I taser them.
I know what's going on. Share screen. Soon.
Someone pull up a picture of the flag of the Vatican. Oh. So we know what this guy's talking about.
Oh no. What's going on right now?
I'm just chilling.
We're waiting for you, bro.
Me too.
I'm currently presenting it. I'm sharing the screen, I think.
I don't say
What happened
anything.
to Omen?
Everything is black for some reason.
Yeah, it does seem like that's the way things are going.
Do you see a thing?
See blackness.
It
Oh, there we go.
There we go. I see it.
reminds me of the arm droids from Lex. You should watch Lex, bro.
Oh, Lex, yeah.
Lex
is
is
something-
definitely a show you'll enjoy.
The greatest German-Canadian production ever.
Yeah. It is
Okay.
very wholesome and upright, and you would really enjoy it, Jackie.
So basically, Justin.
Whoa.
Canada?
You got censored,
No,
bro.
that's Canada.
Traffic censored you.
That was not me. That was Shadwell.
Still blocked out everything you said.
It might
No,
be.
nothing. Just Germany and Canada. Justin, that makes sense for you. Okay, this picture right here is not connected to what I just described. It is a completely different thing that I made, and is just kind of a concept art. This over here, it shows up.
It's not the Valley of Heads, L. It's the Valley of Small Hats.
Yeah, it's Valley of Small Hats. Yeah. Okay, do you see the new picture?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then the second picture.
Is that like a cruise ship?
Well,
Well, all I see is a place that I'd actually like to go vacation at right now.
Oh, the cruise ship.
No,
Yeah,
I see the ship now. I see the ship with the green, but the one that you did after was of a mountain.
Yeah, with a lake.
It looks like an awfully nice place to stay.
It does. Do you see the
Even
thing
the
at the
fist-
top?
The fists coming out of the top.
I just see a giant middle finger.
Yeah.
I can see
Like a
it's got
lantern.
legs. Or
It's not
I
really
don't
got
see
legs. It's
much.
rooted in the ground. But yeah.
oh, okay, there is a little white spot that kind of makes it look like it's standing at a kind of a weird angle.
All I see is a damn
Yeah,
mountain.
Yeah, on top of the mountain, look carefully. There's a shadow.
Yeah, it's a shadow with the middle finger standing up. with the
Oh,
light of the
okay.
middle.
It does look like
what you see.
it does look like God's flipping me off right now.
Yeah.
You know he is. He's like that son bitch.
Yeah, it kind of does.
You
Justin.
sneezed. I sneezed in the middle of something, and boom, Justin is
What's at
created.
the top of the middle finger?
It's a light.
Yeah, 'cause that's the holy.
It's like two little eyes if you really want to go there.
Yeah.
That's
think
pretty cool. I like that one. I didn't notice that at first when I saw it when he showed me this image or sent it to me.
I didn't see that initially.
Yeah.
I didn't get any images.
You can't see it on the screen.
No, I can see it here. Yeah.
Okay.
Like email though.
Oh no,
Oh,
I didn't email it out.
Oh, okay.
So yes, this concludes my TED talk as to why we need to remove Canada from the face of the earth.
F you, bro. F you.
Google.
Hey! Here's the reality. It's like 50% of all the population of Canada is like within 50 miles of the U.S. border.
Yeah. If you're gonna nuke anywhere, nuke New York.
We'll nuke San Francisco, New York, and Ottawa.
Yeah,
We don't
unfortunately-
have to worry about California. We just wait for the big one.
Yeah. No shit.
yeah, right.
I saw.
Actually, wait a minute. How would we know the difference if we knew California from what it is now?
I saw Escape from L.A. You
Yeah,
wouldn't know this
Yeah,
at
that
all.
movie was god awful.
That was bad.
It was better than most things made today. So
Right, but it compared to the classic Escape from New York,
Yeah.
it
I don't
couldn't-
know. I don't know. It's
The
like
surfing is what just like I forgot the surfing. I was like, oh my god, I can't.
Yeah,
It's
believe
the
that's
I
exact
actually-
same movie, except for they added a jump the shark scene.
Actually, I kind of like the part where
literally.
we was there with the cannibal doctor or whatever.
Well, that was
Yeah. Yeah.
With Steve Buscemi or whatever.
Buscemi,
Buscemi.
yeah. That guy's career is literally miraculous.
He's not an attractive man, but
Well, neither is Danny DeVito.
yes, but
And-
Dave DeVito is usually
Not
pretty
true.
funny. He can hold his own movie. Steve Buscemi is a side actor.
no. He's a great actor, man. He really is. Did you ever see Boardwalk Empire? That he was excellent in that.
Yeah, that's probably the high point of his career.
Now, I think they should have kept making those Tim Burton Batman movies every 3 to 5 years.
Agreed, but only if they added Danny DeVito in it more.
The only movie I've ever walked out on in my life was Batman Batman and Robin. Batman and Robin.
Yeah, well, they got rid of Tim Burton, right? The problem is they made him put too many bad guys in the second one, and he didn't want to do that.
Well, actually, the second one was fine. I didn't mind the second one. It was
great.
It was the one where they had Mr. Freeze and
the fourth one.
Yeah, that one was, and they just kept getting worse from there. But the sad thing is I love Mr. Freeze. Why don't they do more stuff with Mr. Freeze? But don't have him, but don't try putting too many major characters in there. That's the problem they have.
Too many bad guys.
Yeah.
They made him do the toy thing for McDonald's, which was wrong. And
speaking of which, guys, Lego Batman. Remember, you got to watch that for Sunday.
I don't gotta watch it.
We're still doing Real Men this upcoming Sunday.
That's a great movie.
Exactly.
Real Men.
Yeah, I love that movie.
Really?
Why do you think I kept referencing it in chat when you brought it up?
I thought I was like the only person who actually liked that movie. It's such a goofy movie, but it's James.
Oh, so you've met my dad.
Oh my God! And the whole time, I knew that his dad was still upstairs, but it was just because you could see the look that the mom and they're like, okay, we'll go along with this, son. Where are you going with this? And it was just, oh my God, just freaking funny as hell.
It was a lot funnier until we got to the modern era where you're like, I already, it lost its shock value.
Oh, you watched it already?
I did.
Okay.
I told it. Yeah. Yep. No, but no, it's the Real Men, then Lego Batman, and then what's the other one that we're supposed to do? Oh, and Big Trouble in Little China.
Big Trouble in Little China.
Which fortunately, guess what? They delivered today instead of waiting till I was, out of the house.
Awesome.
Great movie, dude.
Oh, I love Big Trouble in Little China.
I've only seen it once, and I can't remember hardly any of it.
What?
So it'll be a treat to get to watch it. I know everybody
that
raves
used to be
about
an
it.
Annual, man. When we still had the VHS player, it was on every weekend, right after The Burbs and right before.
Oh, The Burbs, great.
Big
great
Trouble in
movie.
Little China.
That's when you guys gotta watch.
The only movie I ever watched like that, regularly on a specific day, was Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction.
And
I was like 10, so
yeah, I would watch that with my mom and whoever came over every Sunday. That was like a regular thing, and trust me, that was weird.
Bring out the Gimp.
Yep.
Actually, the problem with Pulp Fiction is it's got some really funny parts, and then you've got about 2 hours in the middle of nothing.
yeah. Well, that's
Full of
right.
So
you guys should watch The Burbs. You guys should read The Burbs.
I've seen it once. Again, most movies I've seen once, and then I just move on. It's very rare that I really.
I think Jackie would really like The Burbs.
Yeah, you.
Like honestly, I think you'd like that movie.
Is Jackie still with us?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
He's out there giving a middle finger to a mountain or something. I don't know.
No, I'm just writing my next essay as to why Canada should die. Except for you.
That's very mean from the land of the toilet paper.
I don't think the Californian school district would really like that.
Oh God!
California is just Canada 2 years ago.
You got that the other way around, bro.
Maybe where you live. I'm pretty sure.
I live in the heart of degeneracy in Canada, bro. And no, other way around.
We don't have
We still don't let people poop on the street here.
True, but our schools aren't as inclusive.
I'll get to it, Al. I'll get to it. But with that, folks, I'm gonna say goodnight to everybody.
Yeah.
I gotta head over to the other show. Hopefully, you guys will all join me on the Quantum Show with Nathan Allen. I have no clue what we're talking about tonight.
I need to change my Eldritch horror again.
Okay.
Chris Perkins.
Yeah, that guy definitely, he's definitely wearing a rubber mask. I'm just going to say that.
Yeah,
Who the hell
He
that is.
apparently he got it the same place that
he's the
Elon Musk
CEO of.
and
No. Wait a minute.
Elon Musk
Let's talk about the real Eldritch horror. Look at Madonna and all the stuff she's done to herself with the plastic surgery.
Yeah. That's just her.
No,
she can't keep getting a. She
the
can't get
chick
a
from No Doubt. Have you seen her? Oh my god,
Oh, Gwen
I
Stefani.
always found her
Yeah.
unattractive though. So
dude, she like I don't know what she did. Whew.
Well, you know what? She inflamed
that's what happens. That's what
her
happens when
12
your
times,
adrenochrome
you know.
supply runs out.
You know,
Something.
once the silicone supply ran out, they had to stop. You know, but they
It's
kept going.
adrenochrome. It's not silicon.
no,
It's what?
adrenochrome. It's the stuff they get from fetuses or whatever.
It's from drinking the blood of terrorized people, children,
Oh.
etc.
No, that's
That's
the conspiracy nut version of it. They don't actually drink the blood, Shadwell.
What if
They
they
don't
have little hats?
actually drink the blood.
We'll talk about that later on another channel.
Like, I'm still confused about your mythology on the little hat guys.
Again, another channel, another show, another
Yeah.
time. I'm out of here, folks.
But that
All right,
that ceremony does come from them.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
great.
Keep it weird.
Keep
Have
it
a great
weird.
weekend, everybody. And remember,
The Reich was right.
we will be back next week with another sci-fi topic. I'm not sure what it is, but I'm more than willing to take suggestions in the comment section, or if you want to get a hold of me on Discord, you guys all know where to find me. Thanks again for playing along, and
Well, meet us back next time on Top 2 Reasons Hitler Was Gay.
He wasn't though.
He was a vegan,
It was-
and
it
he
was-
didn't like the church. Those are
Top
two
two
good
reasons
reasons.
that Hitler had to shoot himself multiple times. No, I'm just.
good night, everybody. Happy
You know
trails.
what happened to him if he didn't?